Today's video is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Escape to the wilds to hit our lands. We play Misty Rainforest. We crack Misty Rainforest. We get a Stomping Grounds, untapped, gain some life, make some mana. Then we Felidar Guardian, blink Jace. Jace comes back. We bounce Kroxa. We play Field of the Dead. We hit the Planeswalkers, and our opponent, hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Against the Odds. And this week, we have a special episode. We're doing something, I don't know if this is the most or the least unique thing we've done in a long time. This is banned Tribal for Modern. So here's how this deck came to be and the idea of this deck. So earlier this week, Adriana Kadani, who happens to do all of our amazing thumbnail art on the YouTube channel and on the Goldfish site, sent out this tweet saying, hey, there's enough banned and standard cards that we can actually build a functional modern deck completely out of cards banned in standard. And I should say non-land cards. There's not enough banned lands, so you can play all banned lands as well. But that tweet triggered my imagination, and I decided for this week's Against Odds, we're going to put that theory to the test. So ban Tribal, here's the rules of this deck. Discounting lands, every single card in our main deck and our sideboard has to be banned in standard. So no exceptions outside of lands, which we couldn't really get around, unfortunately, although we do have some banned lands as well. So that's the main rule of the deck. Outside of that, we can play whatever we want, but it has to be banned in standard. The other, kind of restriction is some of the cards that have been banned in standard recently, like Oko and Once Upon a Time, are also banned in modern, so we can't use those because we gotta play actual modern matches. So the idea is, can you build a functional deck 100% out of cards that were banned in standard? Can this deck compete in modern? That's what we're gonna find out today. I think there's some interesting upsides and downsides of this deck building strategy. Upside is we have some busted cards. Obviously, if you were banned in standard, you are a pretty powerful Magic card, maybe even by modern standards. Downside is they don't really ban removal spells. It's not like they've banned a Path to Exile or a Fatal Push, so we don't really have removal. They don't really ban random sideboard hosers, so it's not like we have a Tormod script or a Rest in Peace or a Negate or a Nova's Veto. So we got a lot of power, maybe lacking in utility. But anyway, let's quickly talk about ban Tribal. Go through our banned cards, jump into some games, see if 100% outside of lands, banned in standard deck, can compete in the modern format. So first off, our deck is kind of about fixing our mana. We are full on 4 colors, and we want to be able to hit all of our colors on time, and we also want to hit our land drops, because many of the banned in standard cards are either ramp cards or, in some cases, payoff ramp cards. So Attune with Aether, banned a few years ago, just helps fix our mana, grabs a basic lane, gives us a little energy, which isn't super relevant, although we do have Aether Hub in the mana base. This combines with Growth Spiral, Uro Titan of Nature's Wrath, and Omnath Locust of Creation to give us a pretty absurd ramp / mana fixing card, putting extra lands into play, getting to big stuff, gaining tons of life, drawing extra cards. These cards are just super duper ultra busted. Some of the most powerful cards in our deck. What are we ramping into with these cards? Well, we have Escape to the Wilds, which is card draw in even more ramp with the extra land drop, and our big top end finisher in the main deck at least, Agent of Treachery, to come down and steal stuff. Both of these cards, of course, also banned in standard. Otherwise, in the mana base, our other kind of payoff for ramping is Field of the Dead, which is our one land that's actually banned in the format. Since we have all these Growth Spirals and Uros to put extra lands into play, Escape to the Wilds, we can get up to 7 lands pretty quickly. Our lands mostly have different names. Then we start making zombies and overwhelm our opponent with 2/2 zombie tokens. As far as removal is concerned, this is where our deck's a little bit weak. We have Reflector Mage. That's the closest thing we have to a banned removal spell. Comes in, bounces a creature. Also works really well with Felidar Guardian. Against Aggro, one of our best curves is just Reflector Mage, make you bounce something. Felidar Guardian, flicker Reflector Mage, make you bounce something else. Felidar Guardian also can do ridiculous things with Omnath. Omnath, the way it's worded, it only triggers on its first 3 land drops. However, if we can use Felidar Guardian to blink Omnath, that resets. So we can do something like play Omnath, play a fetch land to gain life, crack the fetch land to make mana, use that mana to play Felidar Guardian to blink Omnath. That makes it a new Omnath. Then we can Growth Spiral, put a fetch land into play. That's going to get us more life, crack the fetch land, make more mana. Who knows? Maybe we Felidar Guardian again, reset Omnath, start the process over. So it does some crazy things that way. way. Otherwise, Smuggler's Copter starts off our curve, looser our deck, finds our good pieces, gets rid of stuff that we don't need. Mana base, not going to talk about every land. The banned land is Field of the Dead. Otherwise, it's fetch lands, shock lands, Ether Hub to take advantage of our energy, some islands. In the sideboard, it's all bad cards. And this is probably one of the weaker parts of our deck, in all honesty, because we don't get those utility pieces, but we do get Veil of Summer, which is insane against counterspell decks and Thoughtseize decks, good against removal in some cases too to protect our threats. Teferi and Jace, really good against control decks. Teferi can also interact with some combos, but not that many. Rogue Refiner, mostly for like aggro, just a resilient blocker, draws us a card, so even if it dies, that's fine. And then in slower matchups, we can bring in Emrakul the Promised Dead, ramp into it, get some cards in the graveyard, steal our opponent's turn, get the huge 13-13, and that is Ban Tribal for Modern. That's our Against Odds deck for this week. Let's see if it can work. Let's jump into some games. I have no idea. Like I mentioned earlier, we obviously have power. Like there's no doubt that cards like Omnath and Uro and Agent of Treachery and even Escape to the Wilds and Reflector Mage and Teferis and Jaces and Emrakuls, like they're all busted cards. There's no doubt about that. Does the lack of synergy and utility spells, will that keep it from being playable? Or will the bustedness of our cards and the bannedness of our cards be enough to take down some wins? Let's find out. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit with a wrap-up. Today's video is brought to you by Card Kingdom, and right now you can get this sweet Scoop Soldier sticker when you order over at cardkingdom.com. Just mention in your order notes that you want a Scoop Soldier sticker when you go to checkout. Alright, Against the Odds time, we are playing the most broken deck possible. Banned Tribal in Modern. 100%, well, outside of some lands, but 100% of our non-lands banned in Modern, or banned in Standard. Yeah, we'll grab an island, set up our Growth Spiral, pass the turn. See what our opponent's up to. I mean, this sounds fine. This is pretty tame for Banned Tribal, honestly. Blood Crypt, untapped, Inquisition. Sure. What do we take an opponent? I assume we take Growth Spiral, but yeah, opponent takes Growth Spiral. You can always try to kill the Copter. Well, play the island, play the Copter, pass the turn. Opponent, Bloodstained Mire. Do we have a Thoughtseize? Opponent cracks. Overgrown Tomb. Alright, so opponent's playing Jund by the looks. Dark Confidant's something we're concerned about because we don't really get removal. I mean, we have like Reflector Mage, but we don't have real removal. On the other hand, we have some power. I feel like random mid-range battles is where this deck should shine because, whoo! Ban cards tend to be powerful. Alright, Tarmogoyf. Opponent passes. Well, Agent of Treachery is not super exciting, but we will attune with Ether. Grab a Plains. Field of the Dead. Go. Opponent has Inquisition. That's a whiff. Does help grow the Goyf, though. Opponent. Getting in, hitting us. Down to 15. Play the Plains. Felidar Guardian. Blink the Plains. And yeah, let's just pass. I feel like our Copter gets killed for sure. Opponent missed their land drop. Opponent untaps. I actually think we might just try to chump block with this Copter and loot. Opponent. Combat. Yeah, let's, actually, you know what? Let's just block with Felidar Guardian. Yeah. Stay at 15. Opponent bolts it. Sure. Opponent passes. Something we could cast, please. Ugh. That's not good. Well, Ether Hub. We might just die to this Goyf before we get to do anything. Wow, where's all of our real cards? Land for our opponent. Goes to combat. Hits us down to 11. Plays another Goyf. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Felidar Guardian. Blink a Plains. Play a Mountain. Do we survive? I mean, if we survive, we got a shot. We need to be able to chump block with this Felidar Guardian, really. I mean, I guess the Copter helps there, because if they try to kill this, we can at least Smuggler's Copter. Then next turn, we can potentially make 2 zombies and Agent of Treachery, and hopefully that gets us to the position where we're stable. So we block. We go to 7. Well, let's see what they got. Opponent passes. Ooh. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there any way we can play around? So what are we worried about? We're worried about lightning bolts. Our opponent has cast 1, but we're at 7. Agent of Treachery would require us cracking a fetch. Well, all right. Let's escape. Escape. See what we can hit. I'll play the forest. Make a zombie. Wooded foothills. Make a zombie. And pass the turn. Really want to avoid going to 6. Next turn we can Uro, and then we can crack fetches, instead or double bolt rage. I think we should have played Field of the Dead. That was a small misplay. I forgot that we actually don't have any basics we can fetch. If we could have fetched a basic, we probably would have taken the risk that our opponent doesn't literally have 2 bolts in hand. But yeah. Opponent. Colligan's Command. Blows up Copter. And kills a zombie. Well, maybe we just die right now. It's possible that our opponent just has enough burn. Because we're going to have to crack this. Yeah. Well, yeah. What do you got, opponent? What do you have? The burn is the issue. Oh, are we going to end up 1 turn short? I mean, if we get 1 more turn, I think we put the game away in a way that we cannot lose. Opponent attacks. Well, crack what it fails. Go to 6. Do we get double bolted? Grab a breeding pool. Tapped. Make a zombie. Block and block. All right, that's what we got. Don't kill us. 6. Do you got 2 bolts? Opponent's not been playing lands, so they got something. I mean, we know they got action. Oh, if we get to untap here, it's going to be hard to lose, I think. Stomping Grounds. Untapped. Down to 13. Clothis. Okay, that's fine. We draw in a row. So, step 1, Field of the Dead. Make 2 zombies. Step 2, Uro. Gain some life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put the land into play. Make a couple zombies. And opponent. All right. The bad cards get there in the end. Whew. Well, our opponent got off to the faster start with a double goyves, but eventually just playing broken things is good enough. All right, opponent's playing Jund. Well, against Jund, I think we want to fight the value plan. So we are going to go up Veil of Summers. We're going to go down the Smuggler's Copters, which incidentally die to too much. We're going to go down a couple Felidare Guardians. We're going to go up a couple Rogue Refiners. We're going to go down an Agent of Treachery for a Jace, and a Agent of Treachery for a Jace, and a Felidare Guardian for an Emrakul. Well, they have Graveyard Hate, don't they? They probably do. All right, let's not do that. Let's not bring in the Emrakul. Let's keep a Copter. Keeping a couple Copters. Keep a couple Copters. Makes sense. Especially with Rogue Refiners in. I mean, Veil of Summer's a big one. And let's go 1 Jace. Jace, it's a little hit or miss. Because remember, like, Jace is good against Jund. But remember, Band Tribal doesn't really have cheap removal. Doesn't have removal, period. Outside of, like, Reflector Mage and Teferis and so forth. But, so it's not like we can really protect a Jace well. So I feel like there's a decent chance, if our opponent just curves out a bit, that we could be in trouble on the Jace plan. Well, I actually think this is fine. We have so much power in this deck that the biggest problem is just losing to mana issues. Another escape. We wouldn't mind some ramp though. Well, breeding pool tapped. Pooted. Forest and Renin 6. Okay. To exit up. Well, Steam Vents tapped. Well, we're not gonna have trouble missing land drops. That's for sure. Renin 6 ticks it up. How bad is this ultimating? Clothis. Holy lands. Well, Windswept Heath. Go. Well, now I'm sort of regretting keeping the 6-lander. Because we just keep hitting more. We haven't anything to do with them. Opponent. Cracks the Peatland. I mean, this Renin 6 is pretty clearly going to ultimate. Replays it. Opponent. Passing. Well, crack it. This does turn on our opponent's Clothis a bit, but get a Hallowed Fountain tapped. Untap. Sweet mother. Field of the Dead. Go. The problem in this game is we're not drawing enough bad cards. All we have drawn is non-banned lands. All we draw is lands. I mean, stuff should start happening next turn, but our opponent's going to have this Renin 6 at ultimate mode, which is, I mean, I don't know what that does, but it's kind of scary. Opponent's going to exile our land, yep. Thankfully, our opponent hasn't done anything more impactful yet. What a weird start to a game. Opponent's got 2 Planeswalkers, but they're not, or a Planeswalker and a pseudo-Planeswalker, but they're not doing a ton. We have just drawn all lands. Seasoned Pyromancer. Alright, so opponent's going to get themselves set up here for the future. We are going to need to start doing things, although, in theory, this Escape to the Wild should help. Attune with Ether. Well, we will play a Plains. Escape to the Wilds. Wooded Foothills. Go. That was not a great Escape to the Wilds. If there's good news, it's that we do get to start... Actually, let's crack this now. If there's good news, it's that we can cast these Veil of Summers. Get a Forest. Pass the turn. But we didn't actually hit any defense. We hit a bunch of 1 and 2 mana stuff, so we still don't actually have much happening. Opponent's gonna cycle. See if they ultimate this Wrenn and 6. We really could use our opponent to play a black spell. So at least we get to draw off of this Veil of Summer. I mean, I guess the good news is we do get to start making zombies next turn, which is pretty powerful. That might be... I mean, that might be our main game plan. Use Veil to protect our Field of the Dead here. Start making zombies. Hope the zombies are enough. Liliana. Sure. Well, that does turn on our Veil of Summer. Ticks up. We will discard a Tune. Opponent. Combat. I don't actually know if we can cast a Veil. We might have to just take it. Because if we do, that gives our opponent a window to Assassin's Trophy our Field of the Dead. So I think we just have to wait. So we go to 14. Yeah, untap. More lands. Well, we will Escape to the Wilds. We will Scalding Tarn, make a zombie. Crack Scalding Tarn, get an island, make a zombie. Actually, Grow Spiral, Temple Garden, untapped, make a zombie. About it. There is a risk that we just get burnt out by... There is a risk that we get burnt out by this Wrenn and 6 emblem with a lightning bolt, maybe. And this Clothis. We are going to need some life gain. We're at 11? Well, Flooded Strand. Make a zombie. Ship the turn. Cycles Barrenmore. Yeah. Well, okay. Let's see what happens. We have a decent hand for next turn. This emblem is very, very, very scary. Okay, gonna hit us to 9. We don't have any life gain at the moment. Alright, not gonna emblem Wrenn and 6. That's good news. Takes up. We will discard a Mountain. Wooded Foothills. Assassin's Trophy. Well, Crack Flooded Strand. Sacred Foundry. Boy, we've got like all the lands out of our deck. I don't actually know if we have a basic to get. I don't think we do. Yeah, alright, no basics. Sure. What do you got, opponent? Kroxa. Okay. Ooh, that actually gets in damage, too. Oh, that's not great. Down to 5. Whew, that's frightening. Opponent. Passed. Yeah, we're actually kind of close to dead now because of this. We draw Jace. Well, what do we do? How do we not get burnt out? We can Agent of Treachery steal Clothis, but then there's still the Wrenn and 6. We can steal Liliana. That doesn't really do anything. We can, like, Rogue Refiner, draw a card. We can Reflector Mage. Doesn't do a ton. Well, I think we just have to Agent of Treachery, steal Clothis, and pass the turn. Oh! Yeah, I think our opponent might just barely get us here. Opponent cracks. It just took us too long to start doing things. We are already behind, like, a Wrenn and 6, X a million. By the time we cast our first spell, we didn't do anything until turn 5 in a modern game, which, just a little slow. We drew all of our... Oh, yeah, just awkward. Awkward way for that to go. Wrenn and 6, gets it back. Takes up. We lose our Jace. So we are dead to many things now, thanks to this Kroxa. And we are also out of action now, which is bad. Opponent discards a land. Gets back Kroxa, hits us to 2. Yeah. Verdant Catacombs. Oh, so our opponent just has lethal? No, gets a Swamp. Tarmogoyf. Well, we need a top deck. We need a top deck. We do have a million Omnath and Urals left in our deck. And it's an Attune. Alright, yeah. Okay, so we're dead. Sure. Well, that was super awkward. We just did not draw... I mean, we kept that land heavy hand. And then we proceeded to not do anything until turn 5. So that was That was what happened there. I actually feel like we're probably pretty heavily favored against what our opponent's doing. I feel like in general we just have bigger, better, more powerful stuff. But did not actually come to fruition that game. And then our Escape to the Wilds was horrible too. Our first one, we hit all the Veil of Summers and Attuned with Ethers, but no real cards. That was kind of the nightmare scenario for Man Tribal. Do nothing forever, and then we did do something, it was still nothing, and that gave our opponent just infinite time to get their game plan set up. Alright, we get to play first. And all 8 Omnath... Oh no, this is the opposite problem. All 8 Omnaths and Uros were at the bottom of our deck, which is super awkward. We'll keep. We'll put Reflector Mage to the bottom. His hand's not great, though. Not great at all. Now we got the... Wow. Are we going to go from Mana Flood to Mana Screw? The classic? Opponent cracks Verdant Catacombs. Overgrown Tomb untapped. Well, we will Veil of Summer. Another Growth Spiral that we can't cast. Play the land past the turn. Come on, lands. Blackleaf Cliffs for our opponent. Runs out of Goif. Well, that's a land. So Flooded Strand. Play Smuggler's Copter. Pass the turn. Wooded Foothills for our opponent. Cracks it. Grabs a Mountain. Renin 6. Gets back a Catacombs. Gets in for 3. Down to 17. Well, crack this. Get a Breeding Pool. Untap. More lands, please. Uro. Not great. Well, we will Uro. Draw a card. Put a land into play. Crew Copter. Opponent has a Bolt. Alright. Well, I mean, that's not ideal, but pass the turn. Yeah, opponent had the right card that time. Exactly the right card. Fatal Push doesn't do it because we have the Veil of Summer, but yeah. Opponent gets and hits us. Down to 14. Well, crack Misty. Grab a Hollowed Fountain. Tapped. Untap. Rogue Refiner, draw a card. Temple Garden. Tapped. Pass the turn. We're still not in a great place, though. Alright, opponent untaps. Oh, boy. Huh. Yeah, this is brutal. Opponent has drawn all their red removal, which has actually won them the game. Just kind of the luck of the draw, so to speak. Yeah, if those had been fatal pushes, I think this game's over in our favor. But because they were bolts instead, it looks like the game is over in our opponent's favor, which is very, very unfortunate. So we go to 4. Opponent pings us with Renin 6. We untap. Well, blue, green, green. Uro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get it back. Go up to 6. Get a 6/6. Draw. Alright, Ether Hub's not the worst. Pass the turn. Well, we finally got a threat that can't be bolted. The downside is our opponent, the way they played, I think they're going to have even more bolts and be able to bolt for lethal. Well, Assassin's Trophy. All right. Well, we will Veil of Summer. Fizzle it. Wait. Are we stabilizing? Are we stabilizing? Opponent gets back a land. Passes. Well, we will go to combat. Attack Renin 6. Draw a card. Put the land into play. Agent of Treachery is not the worst. Opponent lets Renin 6 die. Crack Misty. Grab an island. Agent of Treachery! Oh, good timing for a 7-drop. Come to us, Goif. Oh boy! The tide might have turned. We're up to 9! We got multiple blockers! We got an Uro! I think the tide has turned! Oh, I thought we were done! But now I actually like where we're at. Opponent. Those bolts were good to get through our banned sideboard card. But now the bad cards are stacking up. I feel a little bad that we have a non-banned Goif, and our opponent scoops it up. Huh! Too good! Oh. So the thing with this deck is you definitely are going to fall behind early. But But then the power, once you get going, of bad card and a bad card and a bad card is just, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And, yeah, I mean, it got there in the end. And that wasn't even a bad Jund hand. They had multiple removal spells to keep our early game in check. They had this Assets Trophy. They had the Planeswalker for card advantage, and didn't matter. Eventually, the bad cards come through. Oh, sweet, sweet, sweet. All right, against the odds time. This week, we are playing what should be the most broken deck in Modern. We are playing Ban Tribal, every single, well, non-land, and some lands. Card in our deck, banned in, ooh, alright, I guess we keep this. Has been banned in Standard recently, so we'll see. We'll see. Can all the bad cards together make for an insanely broken deck? This hand's fine. The only downside is we kind of need both blue and white mana. I guess we most likely attune for blue, though. So land, attune, island, and then hope that we draw into fetch lands, perhaps. Opponent, Blood Crypt, untapped, and, oh boy, Aggro. Aggro is probably the matchup I'm most scared about because, unfortunately, Wizards never bans removal spells. If only something like Fatal Push had been banned, or Path to Exile had been banned in Standard, this deck probably really would be the best deck in the format. But that is something we're lacking. So we gotta hope that we can just get our big things going for defense mostly. Oh boy, opponent's all in aggro. Okay. The Bonded Courier. Opponent gonna get in. Yeah, this is not the ideal matchup, even on the play. Bonded Courier exiles a card. Opponent hits us. Down to 17. I mean, I guess we can start playing... We can start playing Felidar Guardians. What do we need white. Blue, green. We got to get white for sure. The question is white, red, or white, green. I guess white, green. All right, get the Temple Garden. Untap. Agent of Treachery is a minute away. Well, we will Felidar Guardian to try to put up a blocker. Untap the island. Opponent probably has Fatal Push. Blood Crypt untapped. Yeah, they almost certainly have Fatal Push. Yeah, I think dedicated aggro is where it exits the worst. There's a Fatal Push. Oh, if only it had been banned. Blinket Island. Yeah. Alright, well, we will continue to get beaten down. Opponent's almost out of cards, but that's kind of deceiving because they have this Bonded Courier going to town. Oh my goodness, triple one drop. Oh, this is a nightmare for Bad Tribal. This is exactly what we don't want to see. Well, now we know for sideboarding, which does help a bit. Cling to Dust to grow the dorks. Yeah. So we're taking Infinite, and then this Bonded Courier. Ugh, yeah. Well, okay. Down to 11. Can we draw something good? Not really. Well, we will play another Felidar Guardian. Blink a land. Field of the Dead. Go. Oh, come on. No more removal. No more removal. I mean, Escape to the Wilds into 2 lands starts making zombies. And then Agent of Treachery for the win, hopefully. All right, opponent with a big attack. We're gonna block the Bonded Courier, make our opponent sack it if they want the cards. Oh, this is still fragile. They can deal a lot of damage. Opponent casts a Teamer Battle Rage. Okay. Interesting. Wow, is their last card like a Lightning Bolt? Blood Crypt. Untapped. Okay, sacks Bonded Courier. So we take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ugh, that's still a lot. This might be too much. Well, opponent draws some new cards. Oh! Wow! Alright, so. Yeah. Well, tough matchup and good running. Well, sometimes people draw their mutagenic growths randomly, luckily. Veil of Summer's in. Teferi's in. Go down. Alright, let's go down 2 Felidar Guardians. 1 Escape to the Wilds. An Agent of Treachery. A Smuggler's Copter. A Smuggler's Copter. An Agent of Treachery. And, alright, we'll go 3. We'll go 3 Teferis. Run it like that. Alright, well, I mean, we have some okay-ish sideboard cards. Like, Teferi gives us more bounce. We were not that far away from stabilizing, but our opponent I mean, triple one drop, that is not what our deck wants to see. Our deck wants to try to parlay its power in the late game because removal spells don't get banned for some reason, which, I mean, is probably a good thing, really. Like, it's not like Fatal Push really should have been banned in Standard, but it would have improved our deck. So, Wizards, please. I wonder if we could play Lightning Bolt, because Lightning Bolt, it's kind of been banned in Standard by Wizards refusing to reprint it. Does that count? Is that close enough? Alright, this hand's not bad. Oh, Breeding Pool tapped, pass the turn. I mean, Growth Spiral into Reflector Mage, or something, into Omnath. That actually seems like a fairly legit hand, assuming we don't get Thoughtseize into Oblivion, which is always a concern against Death Shadow decks. Blood Crypt, untapped. Soul Scar Mage for our opponent. Well, let's Windswept Heath, crack Windswept Heath. Get a Plains. Smuggler's Copter, go. I think we're going to try to Reflector Mage first, and then Omnath. Yeah, just kidding. Our opponent has Thoughtseize to take our Reflector Mage. Yeah. Yeah, sure. I mean, that's pretty obnoxious. We did, our entire line was dependent on that Reflector Mage, so. Opponent goes to combat, gets in, hits us. Down to 17. Well, Breeding Pool untapped. Growth Spiral. Steam Vents tapped. Pass the turn. Well, let's see if our opponent has more Thoughtseizes. If they don't, next turn should be a good one. Omnath, Fetchland, Teferi, Crew, etc. Bloodstained Mire for our opponent. Swift Spear. Opponent's gonna crack their Fetchlands. Gets a Blood Crypt untapped down to 12. Goes to combat. Attacks. Hits us. Casts a Lightning Bolt to hit us some more. Down to 12. Down to 8. Well, if our opponent also has Fatal Push, this is even worse. So, green, blue, red, white, Omnath. Draw a card. Scalding Tarn. Gain some life. Crack Scalding Tarn. Get a island. Make some mana. Teferi. Bounce Soulscar Mage. Attune with Ether. Get a forest. Smuggler's Copter. Go to combat. Attack you. Loot. Discard a Hollow Fountain. Put it at a 9. I mean, that was a turn. That was a turn. Is it enough? We're only at 11, so if our opponent can go like Bolt, Double Strike, Mutagenic Growth, all those shenanigans, we could just die this turn, unfortunately. I mean, if we get to untap, though, next turn's going to be pretty decent. Even without a fetch land, we get to make 2 land drops again. All right, Soulscar Mage. Could have discarded the Uro. The problem with discarding Uro is we already saw Cling to Dust, and we really want 2 land drops next turn, I think. And once we get this Field of the Dead going, ban card number, well, 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7. Bad card number 8. That might be the one. That might be the one that puts it away. Lightning Bolt. Kills Teferi. Sure. Well, we're pretty fine with that. The Teferi doesn't really matter. Bobble. Growing the Dorks. Cracks the Bobble. The Omnath is what really matters. Boda gets in. Hits us. Down to 8 temporarily. I mean, we should be able to gain, what, 7 life this turn as long as Omnath lives? 4, 5, 6, 7? I mean, that's pretty good. Opponent gets a Swamp. No zombies yet, because we got both Breeding Pools. Our 1 double land. Opponent. Death Shadow. Sure. Draws a card. So, let's play Uro. Crew Smuggler's Copter. Put a Forest into play. Gain some life. Play Field of the Dead. Make some mana. Uro. Exiling stuff. Okay, we might be pulling ahead here now. Ban cards are getting there. Uro returns. Suddenly we're up to a pretty healthy 18. And we will put Flooded Strand into play. Start making zombies. I mean, I guess there's a chance, and this hits our opponent to 4. And we go to combat. Lose our mana. Loot. Yes, please. Discard a mountain. Opponent goes to 1, but Double Strike on Death Shadow can still get us. We almost won the game that turn. We came so close. Actually, though, we can crack this land on our opponent's upkeep. Yeah, let's do that. So we pass the turn. Upkeep, crack Flooded Strand. Get a Temple Garden tapped. Gain a bit of life. We're trying to stay out of range of dying to a double striking Death Shadow. And opponent scoops it up. Okay. Even with our Lacquer removal, the power of the ban cards was enough. This is one of the better decks. The 8 Shadow deck is one of the top decks in Modern at the moment, too. All right. Well, that shows what this deck... Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. We went from doing kind of nothing to doing kind of everything all at once. Pretty impressively, I would say. Like... Our opponent almost hit us dead with all their 1-drops, and then all of a sudden it's Omnath into Uro with Smuggler's Copter. Look out, here we come. Okay, Wild Stack. I mean, maybe it could work. Ooh, all right, we'll keep this. This I like mostly because we have a bunch of defensive 3-drops. We are leaning on this Attune. All right, Monastery Swiftsphere. We could be a bit slow. We'll see how fast our opponent's start is. Like, we get to start bouncing things on turn 3. Is that going to be fast enough? I'm not sure. We're probably going to have to shock next turn to Attune. Opponent gets and hits us. Down to 18. Opponent passes, draws a card. We are on the draw, which does make it tougher. Well, Breeding Pool, untapped. Ouch. Attune with Ether. Grab a island and pass the turn. Down to 16. Opponent. Thought Seizes, sure. I don't think our opponents realized that we're banned tribal yet. That every card in our deck is a bad card. Takes a Growth Spiral. Makes sense. Opponent has a land, unfortunately. Gets and hits us down to 14. The problem is we don't really get to do anything this turn either. Play the land. And yeah, I think we gotta run out Copter. I don't think we can afford to leave up the Veil of Summer. I think we got a Copter. Then we can Reflector Mage bounce something, hopefully. Crew Copter, start looting. Opponent, getting in. Hitting us. Sure. Down to 13. Getting close to the Death Shadows. Opponent, save us Reflector Mage. I'm glad Reflector Mage was bad. It didn't make much sense at the time, but it is pretty essential to ban tribal functioning. It's the closest we have, that Teferi, to having a removal spell. It's obviously not super efficient, but close enough. We draw a Tune with Ether. Well, play the Plains. Run out Reflector Mage. Opponent, Apostle's Blessings. Okay. I mean, that does mean we don't get to bounce it, but that's fine. We still get to Crew Copter. Go to combat. Attack. Loot. Yes. Definitely discarding Agent of Treachery. Well, I mean, I guess it's good we made our opponent use that Apostle's Blessing at a time when it wasn't hurting us or killing us. Still, we've seen the double strike spell, so in Mutagenic Grow, so hard to feel safe that we don't just like randomly get janked out at the moment. Okay, cracking the fetch. We were hoping to never see that our opponent would just stick with fetch lands forever. All right, opponent, are we dead? Are we dead? Swiftspear gets in. Are we dead? No, we just take 1. Okay, we're kind of okay with that. Taking 1 is not the end of the world. Opponent passes. Well, we will Attune with Ether. Get red mana. Play red mana. Teferi. The ban cards just keep coming. Teferi. Bounce Swiftspear. Draw a card. And you know what? I think we're going to pass. I want to be able to block. I think what we want to do, we really want to fetch land for next turn now that we found this Omnath. So I think what we want to do is if our opponent replays Swiftspear, we'll just crew block. Sure, we're going to lose our Smuggler's Copter. That's fine. We'll get to loot. Hopefully hit a land for this Omnath to gain 4 life. And then, I mean, if we had a fetch land, Omnath, fetch land, Uro, then we're just off to the races. And with our banned Planeswalker, one of them, we don't really have to worry about immediately dying. All right, so we will crew up Smuggler's Copter. Sacrifice Reflector Mage. Have some defense in case our opponent gets frisky here. Blood Crypt, untap down to 7. Swiftspear, combat. No attacks. All right, we draw Veil of Summer. Well, we will play Omnath, draw a card. We will... Crewcopter. We want this land. We want this land so bad. Like, hitting a land just wins us a game, I think. Get in with Copter. Loot. Okay, that's a land. Discard Felidar Guardian. That's what we wanted. Hit our opponent. Wooded Foothills, gain some life. Crack Wooded Foothills, get a forest. Yeah. Get some mana. Uro. Gain some more life. Yeah. Take up to Fairy. We're back up to 18, and maybe we're fine against aggro. Maybe our ban cards are just so insane, and now we get to leave up Veil of Summer if our opponent has Thoughtseize removal. And now I think we just win? Broke it. An opponent gives a GG, says flooding. Yeah, well, all right. Score one for the bad guys, I guess. Sweet. All right. Against the odds time, we are playing the most broken deck in Modern. Banned Tribal, and we'll see. Everything banned in Standard. Is it good enough for Modern? This hand's fine. We do need blue mana at some point. Preferably soon, but if we do find it, it's good. Opponent, Bloodstained Mire. Cracks it, gets a Blood Crypt, tapped. And Wooded Foothills passes. And that is the opposite of blue mana. Well, Field of the Dead go. Come on, fetch land, please. Opponent. Cracks the Wooded Foothills. Stomping Grounds tapped. Opponent passes. Well, play him out and pass the turn. Oh, Simian Spirit Guide. Oh, opponent's playing Dredge. Okay. Oh, wait. I don't know what's going on. Just Goryo's Vengeance? Oh, it's not Jund. Oh! Okay, we're dead. Sure. Yeah, got us. Well, this is where our deck might not be very good. As good as our deck can be in fair matchups against unfair decks, it is a little scary. Okay, so, well, Teferi does something. Veil of Summer probably does something. We will go down Felidar Guardians. Couple of Agent of Treacheries. What else? Maybe an escape. Like, how can we win this game? What is our actual way to beat this deck? Ooh. Our threats are good, but our interaction, not so much. Wizard's got a bit more interaction. Probably a couple of Reflector Mages. And, run it like that. Well, okay, so Teferi does do something to some extent. And then I guess we just try to kill him. Like, I guess that's our best bet, is just try to go off and go over the top. Well, okay. I guess we'll keep this. I mean, yeah. Veil of Summer can stop a discard spell. And then Looter Scooter, I guess? Could use it to Teferi. Opponent, Adepts. Bloodstained Mire, and passing. Well, we will crack. Grab a blue, green. All right, we'll just grab a Stomping Grounds. Untap. Well, play an island. Play a Smuggler's Copter. You. Opponent. Grabs a Blood Crypt. Well, I mean, if our opponent can reanimate Emrakul, we can't stop it. Blackleaf Glyphs. And opponent passes. Creature? Teferi? Please not more lands. Well, Field of the Dead. Go. We might regret playing Field of the Dead because it means if we draw Omnath, we can't cast it next turn. Blackleaf Glyphs. I mean, if our opponent gets up to 5 mana, they most likely have Through the Breach as well. We draw. Oh boy, more lands. Oh. Record-breaking amount of lands here. Flooded Strand. Go. Oh, we've drawn a land every turn of this game, haven't we? I think we officially have. Because we had Veil and Smuggler's Copter to start with, and now we still just have lands about it. Gets an Overgrowth Tomb. Blood Crypt. If it's untapped, we're probably dead to Through the Breach. Alright, plays it tapped. Well, crack this. Grab a Temple Garden tapped. Untap. Oh, jeez. Well, Breeding Pool tapped. Oh, boy. All right, pass the turn. Awkward. Ugh. I don't feel like we have the right banned cards for this matchup. Opponent. Passing. Well, we're not dead yet, apparently. Booted. Discards Grizzlebrand hand size. Well, play Teferi. Yeah. So, we probably still lose here. Teferi. Bounce Grizzlebrand. Opponent draws. Play Steam Vents tapped. Yeah, they couldn't draw again or they risk dying to Smuggler's Copter. Well, alright, so opponent drew a bunch. Land. Do we have the Through the Breach? Well, alright. Veil of Summer. Even more lands. Well, Protect Teferi. We're not going to be breached. That's good. Opponent. Oh, God. Oh, boy. Okay. Yeah, that gets us. We're never going to beat that deck anyway. Well, as powerful as the bad cards can be, they just haven't been enough interactive spells for a matchup like this. Well, alright. Yeah, on to the next. Alright. Against the odds time, we are playing Banned Tribal. In Modern, everything banned. Well, outside of some lands. Not enough lands banned to go fully banned, but yeah, Banned Tribal. Age of Treachery, not what we were hoping for. Winds of Teeth, go. We really need the mana to cast Grow Spiral, preferably. Opponent Flagstones. Uh-oh. This might be a Prison-y style deck. Well, yeah, crack Winds of Teeth. Grab a, Breeding Pool? Let's take Hollowed Fountain. Untap. Well, Smuggler's Copter. Go. Opponent has Mana Tithe. Yes, his land destruction. Uh-oh. While I'm not super worried about land destruction in an absolute sense, I am very worried about how this hand lines up with land destruction. We kept a land light hand, and if our opponent can start blowing up lands, we are in all kinds of trouble. Oh, no. Oh, no. Alright. Sacred Foundry untapped. And Pillage. And we will go to game number 2. Yeah, if we had known we were playing against red-white land destruction, we would have mulliganed this hand for sure. There's just no way we can cast enough spells there. So, land destruction. Jace is in. Agent of Treachery's down some. Veil of Summer doesn't stop the land destruction. Kinda interested in Emeralds. Let's go up a couple Emeralds, down a couple Felidar Guardians. Well, let's go one. One Emrakul, and also bring in a Teferi? Yeah, let's try it like that. Well, now we know what our opponent's doing. We just gotta make sure we keep a hand with lands. We have plenty of lands. We got redraws to fight them. So I feel like we can just fight through land destruction as long as we have a hand with a reasonable amount of lands. Well, okay. This hand does have a lot of lands. I guess that's good in some way. Not much else, honestly. Opponent, doing some mulligans. We will... Stomping Ground Stepped. I feel like we gotta wait on Field of the Deads because they slow down Omnath and potential Growth Spiral. Sacred Foundry, untap, opponent, passing. Alright, we'll Field of the Dead. Go. Opponent, passes. Well, play the land and Smuggler's Copter. Manatize. Well, we'll crack. We will grab a Breeding Pool. Untapped. And pay. Huh. I guess maybe our opponent figured it wasn't getting any better. We were definitely playing around it. Opponent. Blows up Field of the Dead. Sure. Well, play Field of the Dead. Pass the turn. Actually, you know what? Let's do this now. Grow Spiral. Wooded Foothills go. Land for our opponent. And blows up a Field of the Dead. Opponent's down to 2 cards, though. It's a Sacred Foundry. Well, we will crack. Grab a... Sacred Foundry. Untap. So many sad Reflector Mages. Well, run out Reflector Mage. Crew the Copter. Go to combat. Attack. Alright, opponent's got removal, but they're down to 1 single card to their name. Opponent. Passing. Well, we will play Teferi. Opponent drew Mana Tithe for the turn. Well, get and hit you. I mean, I guess if we don't draw any more lands, there's a chance that our opponent can draw out of this. Cracks the land, draws a card. Opponent passing. Oh, play Field of the Dead. Go to combat. Hit ya. We need... Our opponent is keeping our banned cards off the battlefield for the most part by blowing up lands and mana tithing. Alright, kills a Reflector Mage. That's acceptable. Alright, Chandra, sure. Gonna make some tokens. Well, we will... Growth Spiral. Land tapped. This gets us to escape from the wilds, which is good. Opponent gets it, hits us. Down to 14. Well, while our opponent's tapped out, let's draw some cards, hopefully get some lands. Ether Hub. Windswept Heath. Make a zombie. And pass the turn. Well, now we don't care too much about land destruction. Our opponent can, like, flashback a pillage on our Field of the Dead, but we just have so many insane cards. We have 6 card types in our graveyard. And Emrakul. So there's a decent chance. Like, sure, blow up a land. Go for it, opponent. Do it. We dare ya. Worst case, we escape to the wilds. Best case, we hit one more land. Emrakul comes down, and our opponent is very, very sad. Yeah. Field of the Dead gone, sure. Cascading Cataracts, opponent passes. Well, we will attune with Ether. Get a land. Play the land. Escape from the wilds. Land. Untapped. Go to combat. Hit Chandra. Hit our opponent. Pass the turn. We do lose our Emrakul, which is a bit annoying, but I don't know if it really matters. The banned cards are going to start flowing. Opponent going to ramp and draw a card. Sure. We just have so many lands on the battlefield that our opponent's cards are not very good anymore. Opponent ramps. Plays a land. Well, we will Growth Spiral. Ooh, Omnath. And we got the fetch land. Okay. This should be a good one. Green, white, red, blue. Omnath. Draw a card. Fetch land. Crack fetch land. Get the plains. Make some mana. Gain some life. Agent of Treachery. Steal your indestructible land. Smuggler's Copter. And banned cards, they're coming through now. Get in, hit ya. Woo! They're stacking up, and all the Stone Rains in the world are not going to save our opponent at this point. I do like our opponent's deck a lot. I mean, Mana Tide Land Destruction's sweet. Nahiri. I mean, Nahiri's good, but I don't think it does much now. Loot Sway, a Mana Tithe. Makes sense. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we should just have lethal, I think. Crewing Copter. Cracks the land, draws a card. Opponent, passing. Well, attune with Ether. Get a mountain. Uro. And opponent, scoops it up. Well, that went much better. I'm still a little scared. Like, so, oh boy. Game 1, we saw how things can go wrong. Game 2, we saw how things can go right. Where does this leave us in the end? I don't know. I do know that we want more Teferis. We're gonna go down some Reflector Mages. This does make our Copters worse. Maybe we go down a Copter for a Rogue Refiner? Or actually, maybe we just go another Emrakul? Emrakul would have been good last game. Let's try it like that. Now that we see our opponents flashing stuff back with Chandra, Teferi gets better because it shuts down Chandra flashback. So it kind of shuts down land destruction. Come on, many lands. Many lands, please. Okay. This is not bad. We got lands, we got a Growth Spiral. If we get Omnath down, we're super happy. Opponent passes. Well, Misty, go. Opponent. Mountain. Well, crack. Misty. Breeding Pool, tapped. We do want to try to fetch out non-basics as much as possible, just because of Cleansing Wildfire. There's the Flagstones. Stone Rain, well, okay. We will Growth Spiral. Put a land into play. We do lose a land, but we get a land back. This is slowing us down. Scalding Tarn past the turn. Boy, if we can get out Omnath or escape to the wilds, then our opponent's probably going to be in a heap of trouble. Or both. Both would be even better. Opponent's going to boo. Well, alright. Grow Spiral. Put a land into play. Opponent blows up our land. Down to 3 cards in hand. Yeah. Cleansing Wildfire. Alright, that thins our deck a bit. We'll grab a Island. Well, crack this. Grab a Stomping Grounds tapped. Crack this. Grab a Hallowed Fountain tapped. Untap. Red, blue, white, green. Oh, Sacred Foundry, untapped. Blue, red, white, green. Ban card number 1, Omnath. Draw a card. Ship the turn. I mean, our opponent's blown up a lot of our lands. Is it going to matter, though? Can they deal with the Omnath? Omnath makes mana for days if we untap with it. Nahiri, sure. Loots. I mean, opponent needs a path. If they don't get a path, they're in real trouble. Okay, they do not have a path. Well, this should be good. So we get to Flooded Strand. Gain life. Crack Flooded Strand. Get a Temple Garden untapped. Make a bunch of mana. Band card. Actually, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we get to... Yeah, I guess we don't Uro. 1, 2, Agent of Treachery. Take Nahiri. Loot with Nahiri. Discard Uro. Go to combat. Hit ya. Woo! Wow! Okay. Yeah. Too busted, too bad. Opponent. Would you like to blow up one of our lands? We can actually just Nahiri out another agent? Or the Emrakul? Probably the Emrakul. That seems even better. Opponent blows up a land. Sure. And passes. Well, yeah. Nahiri, ultimate, Emrakul, combat, attack you, and ban cards for the win. The holy trinity of Omnath, Agent, Emrakul, and got him. So I will say this deck actually is better than it probably should be. Well, yeah, that worked. Sweet, sweet, sweet. All right. Against the odds time, we are mulliganing with a band tribal in modern and what do we put to the bottom? You know what? Let's just Copter. That's just most likely gonna die anyway. Breeding Bolt tapped. Go. So I guess our game plan is hope for no Thoughtseize, Uro into Escape, and then go from there. See what our opponent's up to. Mishra's Bobble. Cracks it. So not a Lurrus deck. Usually you see Lurrus with Bobble, but Bloodstained Mire and opponent passes. Steam Vents. Tapped. Pass the turn. Opponent. Overgrown Tomb tapped. It could be like Jund Death Shadow? I don't know. They got the land tapped, so it's probably not Death Shadow. I don't know what it is. I mean, I guess it could just be Jund with Bobbles and no Lurruses. Schwump. Or like green-black midrange. All right, Dark Confidant. Maybe it's just Golgari. Ooh. Ho, ho, ho. Well, we will play a Plains. Oh, this is going to be pretty good. We will play a Plains. We will run out a Uro. Wow, this is like standard brokenness, but modern version. Sacred Foundry tapped. So if nothing goes horribly wrong, next turn we can Omnath, fetch land, crack fetch land, escape to the wilds. Oh. All right, no Thoughtseizes, please. Boat it. Thoughtseize. Okay. Well, good news is Thoughtseize can only take one of our 2 payoffs. I actually think I care more about escape to the wilds than Omnath here. Although I guess like Omnath, fetch land, crack fetch land, Felidar Guardian, Blink Omnath, that still draws us 2 cards. That's still not bad. And Thoughtseizes grows our graveyard, getting us closer to an eventual Uro escape. Oh, yeah, turn would have been insane. Insane without the Thoughtseize, but hopefully it's still fine. 2 Thoughtseizes, and then we're very sad. All right, takes Omnath. I mean, that's fine. Gets and hits us. Sure. Stomping Grounds. Untapped. Seal of Fire. This is like a Lurrus deck without the Lurrus. Well, Windswept Heath, crack Windswept Heath. Down to 20. Take a Forest. Escape to the Wilds. Put Misty Rainforest into play. Pass the turn. I mean, I think, where's their Luris? Why are you playing Seal of Fires? And I'm so confused. Opponent, Assassin's Trophy. That's fine. Doesn't do much. I mean, the nice thing about Banned Tribal is we have so many busted cards that we are likely to draw into more of them. And we're still at 20 somehow. Opponent, Catacombs, hits us all the way down to 18. Whatever shall we do? Also, these cards being in exile means they don't get hit by discard, which is sweet. Blood Moon would blow us out. Hopefully there's no Blood Moons. Man, maybe Escape to the Wild is actually just good in Modern. Oh, I see. So they are a Luris deck. They're just playing Luris in the main rather than as a companion. All right, well, crack Misty. Grab a Hallowed Fountain tapped. Untap. Oh, sweet mother. Oh. I mean, I think we gotta go for it. They could have... You know what, can we wait? Omnath would be sweet, but Fatal Push does blow it out. Well, I think, alright, let's play it safe. Get value off this Escape from the Wilds. Reflector Mage. Bounce Luris. Reflector Mage. Bounce Bob. Flooded Strand. Pass the turn. Yeah, we could have went for a crazy explosive line with Omnath, but our opponent has not played any removal spells. So the odds of Fatal Push with this mana open are pretty high. So we lose a Felidar Guardian, which is fine. Opponent draws a card. They can't replay their Dorks this turn, and we can get back Omnath next turn if we want to. With a bit of luck, we can actually Omnath and Uro and Felidar Guardian? Good God, that would be insane. Opponent, Renin 6, sure. Yeah, pings us? Oh, they kill it. Okay, kills a Reflector Mage. Oh, we're kind of okay with this. Tap land. Go. All right, shields are down. This is our chance. Can we hit a land to have an insane turn? Escape. Huh. Well. All right, 1, 2. So green, white, red, blue. Omnath. Draw a card. Land? All right, that's a land. So land untapped. Gain some life. Flooded Strand. Crack it. Temple Garden untapped. Make some mana. Green, green, blue, blue. Felidar Guardian. Blink Omnath. So now it's a new version. An opponent, they see what is happening and they scurry into their little jund hole. All right, yeah, that was pretty good. Now we get to bring in Veil of Summers. So Veil of Summers in. What do we not want? We'll go down a couple of Smuggler's Copters. We'll go down a couple of Felidar Guardians. We'll go down a couple of Agent of Treacheries. And I think we go up, maybe just a couple of Teferis for more bouncing. Rogue Refiner would also be fine. Where do we put, oh, Veils are in with the lands, I see. Let's go 1 Teferi, 1 Rogue Refiner. Oh, and 1 Jace? I kind of want the Jace. All right, go down to Felidar Guardian for Jace. Let's try it like that. Boy, if this deck only had access to a Path to Exile, this would actually be like an almost legitimate deck. Well, okay. Our mana's good. Thoughtseize is potentially problematic. A potentially problematic problem. What do you got, opponent? Thoughtseize? Yeah, well, Inquisition. So there goes Teferi. I wonder if any of our opponents have realized what the theme of our deck is. I wonder if anyone's realized it, or if they just think, oh, they got a lot of busted cards. Or if anyone's realized it's all bad cards. Vote it. Blackleaf Cliffs. Dark Confidant. Sure. Well, Sacred Foundry. Tapped. Pass the turn. Dark Confidant. Inquisition. Ooh, that's actually pretty good. Inquisition can take our Uro. We had plans for that. Opponent. Inquisition. Yeah, that's a bummer. We were going to have a really good turn. Now it's less exciting. Yeah. Oh, boy. All right, so opponent's got it all. We did not draw the Veil of Summers, and our opponent has drawn their Thoughtseizes. Gets and hits us down to 18. Breeding Pool tapped. Well, maybe our opponent's finally out of discard, and we can do things next turn. Liliana plays it. Huh. Well, let's discard Field of the Dead for now. Opponent gets it, hits us. Opponent might have drawn enough discard here. White, red, blue, green. Well, Hallowed Fountain untapped. Blue, green, blue, red, white. Pretty sad Omnath. I mean, we still get the card draw, but no land drop. Opponent's discard has been effective here. Opponent gets a Bob card. It's another Liliana. Yes, Bob's been good. This Bob's just been going off for our opponent. All right, so there goes Omnath. And Luris to start getting back bobbles. Yeah. Opponent gets and hits us down to 12. Well, we're going to need a draw. The triple discard. Ooh, all right, that's kind of a draw. We'll play the land, crack the land, grab a forest, escape to the wilds, I think. Field of the Dead. Pass the turn. So this turn's going to be bad, but next turn might be good. Oh, we'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We will see. Opponent. Dark Confidant gets a Croxa. Drops to 9. Oh, super close. Super close. Ticks up. We will discard a Tune with Ether. Opponent has 7 cards in hand, which is absurd. Over on 2, untap down to 7. Bobble. Gets in. So I assume this is going to let our opponent Fatal Push or Omnath, and then we mostly lose. Oh. Wow. Was not expecting that. Okay. Well, that's game. Boil. Huh. That doesn't even seem that good against our deck, but it worked there. All right. Sure. Well, I mean, I guess that shows it is possible for our opponent's deck to beat us. Boil, eh? Boil, how many islands do we even have? Not that many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? We just happen to have them all on the battlefield that game, or like almost all of them? That's unfortunate. Well, we drew no Valus Hovers. Our opponent drew infinite discard that game. Well, all right, we'll keep it. Unfortunately, we got islands again for days, which is awkward. Misty Rainforest, crack it, get a forest. Attune with Ether, get a mountain, pass the turn. About it. Thoughtseize. Yeah, alright, so opponents got their Thoughtseize, presumably. Blood Crypt, untapped. And Inquisition, so there goes our Growth Spiral. Now, we will play a Breeding Pool. Tapped. Well, let's see how much discard they have. If we draw nothing and our opponent has a million discard spells and a Bob again, they got a shot. Renin 6. Sure. Come on, 3-drop. Well, play the mountain, pass the turn. Yeah, we're kind of doing nothing now, which is awkward. Land, cracks it, gets it back. Plays Liliana. Takes it up. We will discard an Ether Hub. Yeah, that's an issue. Well, play a land. Crack Flooded Strad. Grab a island. If we get boiled, I'm going to cry. Jace. Take it up. They can have the land. They got a million anyway. Pass the turn. If this ends with us getting boiled, we had to get the island because of the Jace. Opponent gets back the land. Ticks up. We discard Field of the Dead for now. Fern Catacombs. Cracks it. Gets a swamp. Cracks to draw a card. And Croxa. Well, alright, that's not good, but we do have this Jace still. Opponent passes. We just need a land. Braidstorm. Oh my goodness, and we fizzle? That's awkward. That's super awkward. So, put back Felidare Guardian. Put back a Tune. Temple Garden. Untapped. Omnath. And pass the turn. Oh, our opponent might have gotten us. They might have actually gotten us. All the discard, proving to be good for our opponent. Opponent takes down Liliana. Well, yeah, let's fail. All right, opponent. You need something good. Land. So they can get back their Croxa. Is that enough, though, with us getting to untap with the Omnath? Opponent, Croxas. I think this is fine. So we lose the Tune with Ether, but we know we are hitting a Felidare Guardian, so we get to Brainstorm with Jace. Looking for a fetch land. Hitting a fetch land. Oh. Huh. Well, put back Hallowed Vow it. Alright, put back Felidare Guardian. Put back... Actually, let's put back both lands. Put back a land. Put back a land. Escape to the wilds. To hit our lands, we play Misty Rainforest. We crack Misty Rainforest. We get a Stomping Grounds. Untapped. Gain some life, make some mana. Then we Felidare Guardian, blink Jace. Jace comes back. We bounce Kroxa. We play Field of the Dead. We hit the Planeswalkers. And our opponent, Omnath. Oh, bad cards come through? Bad cards come through. Opponent pulled out way ahead, too. Red at 6. Can't beat the bad cards. Can't beat the bad cards. Down. Opponent's board gone. Now we have everything. Our opponent has nothing. And that should do it. Sure, bobble. Bobble away. Bobble away, my friend. Bobble away. That was a sweet turn. The deck has some synergies. Double chase with Felidar Guardian to bounce and kill all the planeswalkers. That was an insane turn. Opponent cracks. Desperate. They feel it slipping away. Too many bad cards. Too broken. An opponent scoops it up. Whew. I feel like every game we've played with this, we feel like we fall way behind in the beginning, and then all of a sudden we're just like going off, and we have a turn like that, and we come back, like we wiped out multiple Planeswalkers, gained a bunch of life, multiple Jace activations, leaving up the Veil of Summer. Like, what do you do about that? What do you do? Too much bad power. Yeah, all right, sweet. So what do we learn this week about bad Tribal in Modern? And I gotta say, we're like a Path to Exile banning away from this being like a legit deck. Like the best deck in Modern. If they banned Dovin's Veto and Path to Exile, I think this deck would be insane. Even without those bannings, the deck was really good. We went 4-1, and we did see the good and the bad of the deck. So, good news is, in fair matchups, our deck's absurd. Like, absolutely absurd. Better than actual fair Modern decks. We played Judd twice, we beat them. We have all the tools we need to just outgrind midrange, outgrind control. So that's kind of a given. Against those decks, we just have better things, bigger things, more 2-for-1s. Those matchups are really, really easy. So that's the good news. Surprisingly, we felt pretty good against aggro as well. We played against a really aggressive red-black 8-shadow deck with a bunch of 1-drops and Swift Spears and Bird Spells, tried to turn out Scourge of the Skyclaves, and the fact that, like, Uro and Omnath can gain us so much life, and then eventually we get to our big stuff, that was enough to win those matchups as well. So I was thinking we'd probably be in trouble against aggro without having any, like, hard, cheap removal like Path to Exile, but really, the life gain was enough. We would like fall behind in the early game, and then eventually we were just like, oh, Omnath, crack a fetch land, gain 4, Uro, gain 3 more. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever, like we're fine now. So that was surprising and also good news. So I think we're good against control and mid-range. We're better than I would have guessed against aggro. On the other hand, we also got to see the bad news about the deck, which is we played against a Goryo's Vengeance deck that was just trying to reanimate Emeralds on like turn 2 and Grizzlebrands and Through the Breaching. In those matchups, we don't really have much of a shot, honestly. We don't have the interaction to stop those decks. No counter spells, no Thought Seizes, and even though our deck is absurdly powerful once it gets going, we're also not fast enough to race them. We're not going to Goblin Guide and Lightning Bolt anyone out of the game. Our stuff really starts at like 3 mana for the most part, 4 mana, 7 mana, so we're a little bit slow. So that's the bad news. I don't think we're ever going to beat Storm, never going to beat like Dredge without Graveyard Hate, never going to beat Goryo's Vengeance shenanigans. So we're not really good against the unfair decks of the format, but I gotta say the deck was better than I thought. I thought it was going to be full on meme mode and like not win hardly at all, and it was kind of the opposite. Yes, we have some bad matchups, but in a lot of matchups, the banned and standard cards are really insane enough that we can afford to not play cheap removal, have minimal things to do over the first couple turns of the game, and having Uros and Omnaths and Felidar Guardians and Agent of Treacheries is just going to catch us up and let us win anyway, which is absolutely ridiculous. Shout out to one card in specific that was impressive to me, and that's Escape to the Wilds. Escape to the Wilds was a card that I almost wasn't sure if I was going to include. Out of all the cards in the deck, Escape to the Wild strikes me as the least modern playable. Like, Uro, obviously good in modern. Felidar Guardian combos with Saheeli. Reflector Mage he's played humans. Agent of Treachery doesn't really see play, but I mean, it's a big thing to ramp into. So whatever, that's fine. Gross Pyro sees play. Copter has seen play. Escape to the Wilds was a card I was like, ugh, I don't know. Is that modern playable? But it was actually really good. Being able to draw 5 cards, make an extra land drop, having the cards in exile so they can't get Thought Seized was sweet. So maybe Escape to the Wilds deserves another look in modern decks. I mean, like Primeval Titan decks, Amulet decks can ramp into it. Drawing 5 cards seems like it's pretty good. The extra land drop is good if you got Field of the Dead. So maybe that's a card that deserves a little bit more of another look at modern. Maybe it's better than people give it credit for. So overall, I mean, our deck is busted. It's obviously busted. All the cards are banned in standard, but it proved that you could jam them all together in a deck, disregard removal, disregard synergy, disregard counter, just slam all the bad stuff together, and they're so good that you can beat a lot of modern decks, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Like, really, I guess that shows how just absurdly broken these cards have been. And the kind of cards Wizards have been printing, just like how ridiculously over the top they are, that you could jam them all together with little regard for anything else and beat a lot of modern decks with them. So that's bad tribal. That's better against the odds for this week. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.
Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.